Okay, so now on to Dawn of the Dead, which came out in 1978, so 10 years after Night of the Living Dead. Of course, it's directed by George A. Romero again, and the only two main characters I recognize is Galen Ross and Ken Foray. So this one is a not like a direct sequel, but it follows like in the same storyline. I don't know what you would call it, but I guess it's like more into like the zombie apocalypse. But this one is about a group of people that are holed up in a mall during a zombie apocalypse, and they have to face off against these zombies and also a biker gang. But it's mainly a commentary on consumerism, because most when they're hanging out in the mall beforehand, they're just like living their best life, like eating what they want, buying whatever they want, like stuff like that. And that's basically what the plot of the movie is. Now, I really do enjoy this one. This one is my favorite in the original Dead trilogy. And it's because it's more lighthearted and fun and action packed. And I also saw the remake Dawn of the Dead first before I saw this one, so maybe that had an impact on me too. But I actually consider that this is one of my favorite zombie movies, the original Dawn of the Dead. I don't know. This one's in color too. This one's in color. I'm not saying that the black and white version is bad or anything. I'm just saying that this one's in color. Um, yeah. Uh, I think everyone is great in this movie. I like Ken Foray. He's my favorite character in it. He's kind of like the Ben character from Night of the Living Dead. He's a black male lead, but his race is not really like played into the movie. But I can see how it was influential to young or to black people, like with Night of the Living Dead, because I guess it was still rare at this point to see a black male lead in a movie. But also at this point in the 70s too, they also had blaxploitation movies. But yeah, he's the best character. He's kind of like I said with Ben, except like he was a cop. He's a cop. Ken Foray's character is a cop in this movie, and there's like this really crazy scene at the beginning where these cops are like breaking into like this apartment complex because they're like housing it's like a poor like apartment complex because they're holding like these zombies in there, like the family. They don't want them to go get checked or go to the hospital because they know they're gonna get killed. So like they just have a bunch of zombies in this apartment complex, and I guess like the you know FBI National Guard has to come in and take over. And there's just like this crazy ass scene where they're going through the cops are going through this apartment just like fucking blowing everybody away and stuff. And it's just like really crazy scene at the beginning. And then there's another character, I don't know, I forgot that guy's real name. His name is Roger, and he's Ken Foray's partner in the movie, like not like partner, not relationship partner, and they have like a really good chemistry with each other. Roger's more like risky and stuff. I'm trying to figure out. He's more brash and risky. Like he takes more risks and stuff, and he's very energetic. And I thought they played really well off each other. And um, Galen Ross and her, I should look up their names, but the guy he plays Flyboy, that's her boyfriend. Flyboy, I can't really stand him. He's kind of like a stuck up asshole. But later on in the movie, he does like develop a little bit. Like he kind of like doesn't seem like he really cares about his girlfriend, or he does, but he's like very controlling over her. And like Galen Ross is like kind of like just there. She's not like the Barbara character. Like you do get like some um you get some character development from her because she's actually pregnant and they're trying to protect her, but she's just there in my opinion. She don't really stand out, and that just seems to be a running theme in Romero's movies with his female characters. Like I said, I'm not the type that bitches about, sexism and racism in films. Like, I understand, like, the time period it came from and all that. But, I'm just saying, like, when it gets to Day of the Dead, that's when you really see a good, fully formed, strong female character in one of his movies. But, to me, like, she doesn't really stand out. To me, it's mainly Ken Foray's character. I think his name is Frank. I'm going off of memory. I'm sorry. And then there's like Roger and Flyboy. And yeah, like I said, Flyboy, he's all right. Like I said, I didn't really like him at first. Like he came off as an asshole to me. And he was very controlling over his girlfriend. But later on, he does like start helping out a little bit, and he actually becomes like the poster boy zombie for the movie. Um, some scenes I like in this one has a lot of the more memorable scenes from the Dead trilogy, in my opinion. There's the scene, or there's the famous quote from the movie when they're at the mall and they see all these zombies walking around, and Ken Foray says, "When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth," and that's like the most famous line from this movie. Some memorable scenes is like when the rednecks are going hunting or like blowing up shit trying to kill these zombies, and kind of remind me of the scene from Jaws when all these fishermen like gather up and like bring in like explosives and guns and shit trying to hunt for the shark. That's what the scene kind of reminded me of. Then there's the scene where like the one zombie gets the top of his head cut off with a helicopter blade. I think there's a scene also where they kill two zombie children in it. I guess that was pretty shocking back in the day. Yeah, there's a scene where like Ken Foray goes into a house and there's like these two zombie kids and he shoots them. And then there's some other scenes I like too. Oh, the I guess like one of the the most memorable scenes is when the biker gang breaks into the mall and they're just like fighting and tearing shit up. There's a lot of like funny moments in it. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit goofy because they're like smashing pies in the zombies' faces. They're just doing like some Three Stooges type of stuff. But then there's like a lot of violence. Like there's another like memorable zombie that's kind of like the poster boy for this movie besides Flyboy. It's the one where Tom Savini puts the machete in that one zombie's head. And that was like one of the most famous images from this movie. Some dude gets his arm puts his arm in like one of those what do you call them? Where you get your blood pressure taken. Like he puts his arm in one of those like machines at a store, and he gets his arm ripped off. Um, I'm trying to remember what else. Oh, there's like people getting torn apart and shit. It was like a crazy scene. It was also like a very action-packed, fun scene. Um, and then I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm blinking, but yeah, there's just like a lot of like cool like death scenes. I know like the zombies don't look that great because it's like kind of like bluish green paint and it just looks bad, but for what they had back the budget they had back then, I can understand. Like I understand it doesn't look good like nowadays, and like the blood too. Like I don't really like the blood used in 70s horror movies. It looks like ketchup or like melted crayon or red paint. but I'm it. But how they utilized it in the movie with the deaths, it doesn't look that it just doesn't look that bad to me, in my opinion. Um, yeah. I don't know where I went with that, but yeah. What else can I say about this? Because I'm going off of memory. I should have rewatched it probably. Oh yeah, there's also four different cuts of this movie. There's like the theatrical cut, a director's cut, a European cut, and then there's one with no music. And I think this is the theatrical cut, and I I haven't watched any other cuts yet, but this version is just fine to me. You get all the violence and the action in it that you want. You get all the drama in it. And yeah, and I think I should mention that too. That this movie is a slow burn kind of movie. Uh, sorry, I forgot how long it is. I want to say it's close to 2 hours, and it does kind of drag a little bit because there's a lot of like character development and stuff. Because there's not like non-stop action like I'm trying, like it seems like I'm making it out to be. Because there's like scenes where they're just sitting there doing nothing, they're just talking and they're getting frustrated with each other. So some people might find that a little bit boring, but I really like those scenes because it felt realistic. And the scene when Roger, gets bit and he comes back, he's reanimated. Like that scene was very like heartbreaking when Ken Foray's character has to kill him. Um, Also, oh yeah, I forgot to mention the little supply runs they do in the middle of the movie are like very entertaining and fun. And because there's zombies in the mall, so they have to like go out and do supply runs when they can. And it's always like you're trying. It's shot to be funny, to be fun and lighthearted, but you're also worried that they might get caught by one of these zombies. And they're not like fast moving zombies, like they're slow walking zombies, but it's still, you still have that level of fear. And like, yeah, I really do enjoy this movie. I know I ramble a lot sometimes and stumble with my words, but I try to get my thoughts out there as best as I can, and I'm going off of memory. But yeah, I really do enjoy this movie. It's my favorite in the Dead trilogy, and yeah, I highly recommend it. Like if you haven't seen it before and you watch it nowadays, yes, some of it might be dated, but to me, it's still a very solid movie, and you can see why this is like considered a hallmark of the genre. Like I said, makes fun of consumerism, and that's what the mall represents, and the zombies at the mall is like how we consume stuff. Anyways, that's my review.